Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Leviticus. Today we are looking at part of chapter 1, the sacrifice that is called the burnt offering, or sometimes called the whole burnt offering. Now you recall from yesterday that we said in these first 7 chapters of Leviticus, there are 5 different types of sacrifices, 5 different types of offerings that can be made in worship. The first of these is the burnt offering, the whole burnt offering. It's called the whole burnt offering because the entire animal is burned on the altar and consumed by the fire of the altar. With some of the other sacrifices, part of the animal will be burned, but part will be cooked and eaten as sort of like a fellowship meal. We'll talk about those when we come to them. But the whole burnt offering, the entire animal, save the skin, is to be consumed with fire on the altar of sacrifice. Now remember, you bring the animal to the tent of meeting. You lay your hands upon it, symbolizing it stands in your place. The animal will be slaughtered. And then after it's slaughtered, it will be prepared for placing on the altar. Beginning at verse 6. You are to skin the burnt offering and cut it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priest, are to put fire on the altar and arrange the wood on the fire. Then Aaron's sons, the priest, shall arrange the pieces on the wood that is burning on the altar. You are to wash the internal organs and the legs with water, and the priest is to burn all of it on the altar. It is a burnt offering, a food offering, an aroma that is pleasing to the Lord. So the entire animal is to be placed on the altar, save the skin, and to be consumed by the fire. It is all given to the Lord. Now, what is the purpose? What is the meaning of the burnt offering? It is an offering of total devotion and dedication to God. When you come and worship, you want to spend some time with the Lord. You want to yield your life entirely to Him. You want to devote yourself entirely to Him. And so the animal that you bring to stand in your place, to represent you, is given in sacrifice to the Lord, and then all of it is offered in the fire. All of it is consumed by the fire. It is expressive of complete devotion to the Lord. So the Israelite who is offering the burnt offering is not coming primarily in confession of sins or to seek forgiveness of sins. That would come in other types of offering. But in bringing a burnt offering, you're coming primarily to express that you are utterly devoted to the Lord. You will serve no other God. You will worship no other God. You are totally and entirely devoted to the Lord your God, who delivered you out of slavery in Egypt. You are totally devoted to the Lord your God, who delivered you from bondage to not only the Egyptians, but to all kinds of sin. God has saved us. And so our faith is a faith of total devotion, and the burnt offering is expressive of that total devotion. So it is entirely consumed by fire on the altar. So when you want to spend some time with God, when you just want to worship, when you just want to show that you are surrendered to Him, when you just want to show that your life is all for God, you would offer the burnt offering. So in some senses, it is the most common type of offering to be given. You simply want to be with God. You want to be in worship. And so you bring an animal, you lay your hands on it, symbolizing the animal represents you, and then you give it all to the Lord. You give everything to God. All that you have and all that you are and all that you hope to be. It's all symbolized by this animal who will be totally consumed on the altar. My all is given to God. So the burnt offering, the whole burnt offering, is a sacrifice of complete devotion, complete dedication to God. You know, there's a hymn we sometimes sing in the church, I surrender all. All to Jesus, I surrender. All to Him, I freely give. That's what the sacrifice of burnt offering was all about, that surrendering our all to Jesus. And so when you bring the burnt offering, you are saying to God, I want to be with you. I want to be yours, and I want to give my whole life to you. And so you give the burnt offering as an expression of that devotion. Now, in one sense, every time we come to church, every time we gather as the church, we are making symbolically a burnt offering. Now, we no longer make the sacrifices, obviously. That all ended with the atonement of Christ. But the The meaning is still the same. Every time we come to church, we are dedicating ourselves entirely to Him. We are giving ourselves entirely to Jesus. That was the purpose and the meaning and the symbolism of the burnt offering. Give your all to Jesus. Hold nothing back. Give Him everything you have in worship, devotion, and dedication. Amen and amen. That teaches us much about how we worship. Our all is given to God, and the burnt offering symbolizes that. You join us next time for our next 5-minute Bible study in the book of Leviticus.